Recommendation number 4. The study group recommends that the U.S. government should become an early demonstrator/adopter/customer of SBSP and incentivize its development. Several major challenges will need to be overcome to make SBSP a reality, including the creation of low-cost space access and a supporting infrastructure system on Earth and in space. Solving these space access and operations challenges for SBSP will in turn also open space for a host of other activities that include space tourism, manufacturing, lunar or asteroid resource utilization, and eventually settlement to extend the human race. Because DoD would not want to own SBSP satellites, but rather just purchase the delivered energy as it currently does via traditional terrestrial utilities, a repeated review finding is that the commercial sector will need government to accomplish three major tasks to catalyze SBSP development. The first is to retire a major portion of the early technical risks. This can be accomplished via an incremental research and development program that culminates with a space-borne proof-of-concept demonstration in the next decade. A spiral development proposal to field a 10 MW continuous pilot plant en route to gigawatts-class systems is included in Appendix B. The second challenge is to facilitate the policy, regulatory, legal, and organizational instruments that will be necessary to create the partnerships and relationships, commercial, government, and government, needed for this concept to succeed. The final government contribution is to become a direct early adopter and to incentivize other early adopters, much as is accomplished on a regular basis with other renewable energy systems coming online today. For the DoD specifically, beamed energy from space in quantities greater than 5 MW has the potential to be a disruptive game changer on the battlefield. SBSP and its enabling wireless power transmission technology could facilitate extremely flexible energy on demand for combat units and installations across an entire theater, while significantly reducing dependence on vulnerable overland fuel deliveries. SBSP could also enable entirely new force structures and capabilities such as ultra-long endurance airborne or terrestrial surveillance or combat systems to include the individual soldier himself. Entirely new force structures and capabilities such as ultra-long endurance airborne or terrestrial surveillance or combat systems to include the individual soldier himself. More routinely, SBSP could provide the ability to deliver rapid and sustainable humanitarian energy to a disaster area or to a local population undergoing nation-building activities. SBSP could also facilitate base islanding, such that each installation has the ability to operate independent of vulnerable ground-based energy delivery infrastructures. In addition to helping American and allied defense establishments remain relevant over the entire 21st century through more secure supply lines, perhaps the greatest military benefit of SBSP is to lessen the chances of conflict due to energy scarcity by providing access to a strategically secure energy supply. Despite this early interim review success, there are still many more questions that must be answered before a full-scale commercial development decision can be made. It is proposed that in the spirit of the original collaborative SBSP study group charter, that this interim report becomes a living document to collect, summarize, and recommend on the evolution of SBSP. The positive indicators observed to surround SBSP by this review team suggest that it would be in the U.S. government's and the nation's interest to sponsor an immediate proof-of-concept demonstration project and a formally funded, follow-on architecture study conducted in full collaboration with industry and willing international partners. The purpose of a follow-on study will be to definitively rather than speculatively answer the question of whether all of the barriers to SBSP development can be retired within the next 4 decades. 3. And to create an actionable business case and construction effort roadmap that will lead to the installation of utility-grade SBSP electric power plants. Considering the development timescales that are involved, and the exponential growth of population and resource pressures within that same strategic period, it is imperative that this work for drilling up versus drilling down for energy security begins immediately. 4. Study objective. Consistent with the U.S. national security strategy, energy and environmental security are not just problems for America, they are critical problems for the entire world. Expanding human populations and declining natural resources are potential sources of strategic and local conflict in the first half of the 21st century. Conflict prevention is of particular interest to security-providing institutions such as the U.S. Department of Defense. Equitable access to sufficient quantities of clean, reliable, and affordable energy fundamentally enables the technical and policy solutions that can prevent future resource conflicts while still providing opportunities for prosperous growth. Every energy resource opportunity, including those from space, must be fully explored to determine its ability to contribute towards solving mankind's looming energy supply and security dilemma. Every 1 km-wide insulation band at GEO receives nearly as much energy per annum as the content of the entire 1.28 TBBLs of recoverable oil remaining. All remaining oil resource is almost equal to 250 TW years. 1 year x 1 kilometer GEO band is almost equal to 212 TW years. A single kilometer-wide band of geosynchronous Earth orbit experiences enough solar flux in 1 year, approximately 212 terawatt-years, to nearly equal the amount of energy contained within all known recoverable conventional oil reserves on Earth today, approximately 250 TWYRS. The enormous potential of this resource demands an examination of mankind's ability to successfully capture and utilize this energy within the context of today's technology, economic, and policy realities, as well as the expected environment within the next 25 years. Study of space-based solar power, SBSP, indicates that there is enormous potential for energy security, economic development, advancement of general spacefaring, improved environmental stewardship, and overall national security for those nations who construct and possess such a capability. While the Office of the Secretary of Defense, OSD, has no official position on SBSP, the National Security Space Office, NSSO, is conducting this Phase 0 architecture feasibility study on behalf of the Department of Defense to begin answering one fundamental question. Can the United States and partners enable the development and deployment of a space-based solar power system within the first half of the 21st century such that if constructed could provide affordable, clean, safe, reliable, sustainable, and expandable energy for its consumers? In this question, the term enable is critical in that it reflects a focus on retiring all of the hurdles over the next 4 decades that are anticipated in maturing this concept. If the answer to this question is yes, then discussion can begin on whether this disruptive concept should be pursued as a national 5. project not only for its energy, environmental, and economic benefits, but also for the other national security rewards it has the potential to provide.